Right, what's going on, everybody? Just letting this build up a small bit before I get into things, but just want to thank everyone for taking the time today to show up on a Sunday and come to this webinar. Kind of tactically done it on a Sunday to see people showing up, because again, if you're showing up on a Sunday, it means you're obviously somewhat committed to growing your business. Okay, and again, whoever was at my last webinar is kind of familiar with the structure that we do. So you can see me, you can't see yourselves, and that's just with the sole intention of giving you as much value as you can and keeping attention on me. Okay, so I'm just going to run through a few do's and don'ts to make sure you get the most out of the webinar today. Okay, so do take notes, do ask questions, and do interact. Don't just listen to what I'm saying, actually take it on board. Okay, because again, before I ever signed up to any mentorships, I was always going to these live Q&As, live webinars, and I took a lot of value from them that I implemented after them, and it kind of got me up and running with my online coaching business at the time. And then obviously I reinvested that money into things like mentorships to give me all the skills that I have today. But I'm going to make sure everyone who took the time today gets as much value as they can. And again, in this webinar today, I'm going to run you through exactly how you can add an extra 5K per month to your income in the next 60 days. But before I get into things, I just want to see where everyone's at. So if everybody could just type in a one if they're just getting started with their online coaching business, or if anybody can type in, let's say, a two if they're already starting maybe around that 4 or 5K per month, just so I can see where everybody's at. And again, if anybody is kind of beyond that 5K a month ish, I will start tailoring stuff towards you on this live webinar too. Okay, just to make sure everybody does get as much value as we possibly can. Okay, so anybody who's just starting out their coaching business, type in a one into the chat, and anybody who isn't around that, we will actually must turn on the chat. Apologies because I actually messed this up the last time. 2 seconds there now. So I'm just going to make sure everybody can type into the chat, because last time no one could type in and everyone had to type in to the WhatsApp. So everybody can type into the chat now. So if everybody can type in a one if they're just getting started, and if everybody types a two who's already started, maybe around that 2, 3, 4K a month mark, I'll start tailoring stuff to you as well. But again, if you are, whether you're starting from scratch or you already have a coaching business, I'm going to make sure everyone leaves with a lot of value. And again, while I'm chatting, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to ask them into the chat box. I'll make sure I cover every question that comes in to make sure that you leave with as much value as we can. And we're also going to have an open Q&A at the end. But the main thing we're going to chat through on this webinar today is how you can generate an extra 5,000 euros plus a month in the next 60 days. And one point I really want to get across is a lot of people hear numbers like this, and I can really relate to it, because when I used to see people making 10,000 euros a month, 20,000 euros a month, I had a lot of self-limiting beliefs myself. Oh, there's no way that's possible, so on and so forth. And what I would say, of course, I don't give the presentation today, but there's no difference between me, my clients, and you watching the webinar today. The only difference is that maybe I have some skills that you don't have just through investing in myself. Okay, but my mindset is I want to give as much value as I can to everyone. Okay, especially people that are consuming my content, watching my content, so on and so forth. Because again, the fitness industry is a great industry to be in. We're in it to help people, but you also need to make a great living for yourself, because you deserve to. You're changing people's lives. So again, any questions that you have, feel free to ask. But I'm going to run through everything now, and we can go from there. And as I said, feel free to ask any questions you do have. So basically, I ran a webinar about 2 or 3 months ago. Okay. And again, I just want to kind of get something across at the start is Jamie, my client Jamie here, was actually on that live webinar back in March. Okay. And Jamie was one of the few people that took action. Okay. And within 30 days of the webinar, Jamie managed to scale his business from 1,500 euro a month to 6,500 euros per month, following the step-by-step framework I'm going to show you today. Okay. Jamie took action. He got results. And again, Jamie was amazed. In his own words, he literally said to me, "You made it sound so easy. You made it look so easy." And then once he actually got the game plan, he had his list of tasks to do every single week. He got there very, very quickly, and it could be the same for you too. Even our other clients then as well, Anthony and Olivia, signed with us after the webinar too. And within the first month, they signed 23 new clients within 30 days after taking action from the last webinar. And that's just a little message there on the right-hand side, basically saying how excited they were. And since they took action, went to the mentorship and signed up afterwards, they have much more drive and focus. And again, as you can see, 23 new clients within the first 30 days was massive for them. Okay. And again, it's always once you'll take action will win. And again, whether that's through signing up to me or even just taking everything on board you say today, implementing yourself, you will also be in that position too. Just start to believe that it's possible. Okay. Because it is. Okay. I've worked with so many coaches from the 0 to 10K a month market, even beyond that. And the main thing that holds people back at the start is just those self-limiting beliefs. Okay. And I can really relate to that because I was once like that. Okay. I didn't think it was possible to make great money as an online coach or a personal trainer. I was in it for the love of it. And again, of course, that love and passion made me start doing it. But then that love and passion, I knew I needed skills if I wanted to make a great income while doing so, because again, you need to make a good income these days. Okay. We want to build a life of freedom. And again, money does give us opportunities. So again, you need to be a great coach. You need to have passion for it, but you also need to learn the skills necessary to build a big business, to have more of an impact, to help more people while also living the life that you want and deserve as well. Okay. So that's just some perspective on what's possible for you and what happened for the clients that did sign up through the webinar the last time. And obviously then you've probably seen a lot of my results in the past. Okay. So for example, Cormac only posted results the other day. He went from 16.5K per month to 34.5K per month. Okay. Within 16 weeks. Mark and Amy from 2K per month to 25K per month. Molly from 1.8K to 12K. Luke from 0 to 10K. Selling 0 to 6.5K. As you just seen, Jamie went from 1.5K to 6.5K per month within 1 month. And again, as I said, I want to reiterate this. They are no different to you. They're absolutely no different to you. They just have the skills now necessary to grow their business. And that is the only difference. But again, on this presentation, I'm going to run you through exactly what we've done with the people to go from 0 to 5K in particular, so you can get up and running, and again have an online business that you can live from. Okay, so again, today's training for everyone who's looking to add a minimum of 5,000 to their income in the next 60 days. And my promise / guarantee to you is if you are willing, and there's a big if there, because again, I could teach you everything, but if you're not willing to implement it, it's not going to work. It's the exact same with G if you sign up a fitness client. Okay, of course, if they do follow your plan, they're going to get results. But again, it really comes down to the person. But if you are willing to implement everything today that you're taught, you'll have the tools to add 5K per month to your income. And again, I'm going to say it's really not that difficult. It really isn't. It might seem like it now, but again, once you have that strategy, implement what I said today, it will start to happen for you very quickly. And again, you'll move on to the next goal then. Okay, so as well as that, okay, we're going to do a giveaway at the end of this webinar, because I do want to reward everyone that came. If you keep watching to the end, I'm going to give away a free launch call and a custom content strategy. So I'll design you a full custom content strategy based on your target audience that converts. And again, these are usually just for my mentorship clients. But again, everybody who turned up today, I will give you one. Okay, just message me on WhatsApp after the call, okay, with the word content, and we'll get on a call with you. I'll design you a free content strategy based on your ideal customer, so you can start getting leads into your business as well organically. Okay, so make sure to stick around to the end and we'll offer that. Okay, but again, with some of you, I know you were at the last event and hopefully you did take some action yourselves, because again, the last event was very, very detailed. And again, there was even some people as well who texted me after the last webinar who couldn't afford at the time and took action, and they did start making some money, which is great. But for example, Anthony, Olivia, and Jamie, they did take action after the last webinar. Okay, and again, what I will say, if you didn't take action the last time, the second best time to take action is today. Okay, so again, get your notepad out, get your pen out, write down everything I say, start implementing. Okay, and I guarantee as well, you'll achieve the same results that some of my clients are. Okay, an important note as well that I want to get across: if my clients can do it, if I can do it, you can too. We're not special. We just have the skills necessary, okay, that allow us to grow our businesses. That's the only difference. Okay, and again, any successful coach you see, they're no better than you. Okay, they just have the skills necessary to grow their business, and that's what I'm here to help you do. I'm here to help you navigate it, because it can be difficult to navigate it if you've never done it yourself. And the only reason I can teach it is because I've been through every stage of the process myself. I was a coach starting at once. Okay, I was struggling to grow a business once, and again, through learning, through making a lot of mistakes, through investing in mentorships, okay, I now have the skills necessary, and I want to pass that on to as much people as I possibly can. Okay, so I'm going to explain now the 4 pillars that you need to focus on to achieve results like my clients Anthony and Jamie did since the last event. This webinar is designed to help you at a minimum of 5K per month to your income in the next 60 days. And I know that might seem, oh, no way I can do that. but leave those self-limiting beliefs outside this call. Okay? Believe you can and you will once you're willing to take action. Okay? Okay. So pillar one. Okay. And again, this is the start of any online business, really, in particular with an online fitness coaching business. And again, I said this to so many people on the last webinar, and so many people in general, and they still don't do it. But the first thing you need to do, okay, and this is massively important, is optimize your Instagram and nailing your organic content. You can't not do anything until you nail your organic content. Okay. You need to set up your profile to be appealing to your ideal customer. An example I always use is I always speak to people, right? And they're always talking about, I need a website, I need this, I need that. Okay. No, you don't. Especially at the start of an online coaching business. You'll even hear some mentors saying it. We'll build out your landing pages, we'll build out your websites for you. If you're a coach who's maybe 0 to 3K per month, that's the last thing that you need to be focusing on. Okay, you need to focus on your Instagram, because what I would say is, when's the last time you were browsing websites to buy something? You don't. You browse social media, and so does everybody else. Okay, so you need to ensure that your Instagram is appealing to your ideal customer. You need to set it up that way. Okay, your bio needs to explain exactly who you help, what you help them achieve, while also having a specific time frame and a key word to inquire. So, for example, my client Jamie here targets busy men and busy dads as well. Okay, because he's a busy dad himself. So again, if you're ever struggling to think of your ideal customer, a great place to start is, what did you struggle with a few years ago? Okay, because again, you can really relate to those people and you really know their struggle. So it's a great place to start. But for example, Jamie's here, his bio, I help busy men shred body fat, gain muscle, and regain their confidence in the next 90 days. So he's saying who he helps, what he helps them do, and he has a time frame in there as well, which is very, very important. People love working to a time frame. If we can promise we can help them achieve a specific result in a specific time frame, it makes them much more likely to inquire. And then a keyword to DM him the word lean for more info. So when people click onto Jamie's page through his organic content, they can clearly see who he is, what he helps people do, what time frame he helps them doing in it, and they have a keyword so they can easily inquire. So a very, very important action step for anybody here on this call who doesn't have this in place: sort out your bio. Okay, sort out your bio and make sure it's appealing to the customers you're trying to target. Okay, even in my bio, you'll see I help personal trainers scale their business 10K per month and achieve location freedom. Okay, it's very, very clear what I'm helping people to do. Okay, so action step for you all after this call, even right now, write down on your notepad, okay, write down the notes on your phone what your bio is going to be and how you're going to set up your profile to appeal to your target audience. So that's step one. Okay, from there, then we need to start posting content consistently. Okay, and again, there's so many coaches who I speak to who they're struggling to sign up clients. I have a look at their Instagram and I can tell exactly why. They post for one day, they go missing for another few. They post for a week straight, they go missing for another few weeks. You need to start posting content consistently. And by consistently, I mean every single day. Every single day. I know that might seem like, oh, that's crazy. How can I do that? All it requires is a bit of planning. Okay. So, for example, what I always recommend my clients to do is pick one day a week. We're going to batch record your content for the coming week. Okay. So, for example, even myself, what I do every single Saturday, I'll record at least 7 to 10 reels for the coming week. So I'm never behind on my content. Then I simply schedule them into Instagram and then post them at the times my audience is most active. Okay, so first step, getting very consistent organic content, but we need to post both transformative content and educational reels. There's a lot of coaches these days who are constantly posting education, which is great. Don't get me wrong, we're providing value to our audience, but it's not combined with social proof. Social proof is the biggest selling point. If you have no results right now, utilize your own transformation as a way of showcasing social proof and showcasing that your methods work. Okay, so we need both transformative content and educational reels. My general recommendation for you from this week going forward: 5 educational reels per week, which is speaking to your ideal customer. Then one day solely focus on client results. If you have no client results, utilize your own transformation. Then one day more personal to show you have a human element to your page too, because at the end of the day, people do buy into people. Okay, if you can showcase your personality a bit more, what you're all about, your opinion, so on and so forth, that's a very big aspect too. But 5 educational reels per week, one day solely focus on client results, and one day more personal. Now, it's not just as simple as that, okay? Because again, especially in this day and age with so much coaches posting content, you need to stand out. And that's why I'm such a big advocate of targeting a specific person within your content. So for example, when creating content, ensure you call out your ideal customer in the first few seconds. So for example, if you're like Jamie and you work with busy dads, if you're a busy dad looking to lose the belly and get back to your old self, listen up. So that's the start of your videos. You're grabbing their attention instantly. Okay. Then have a very clear call to action at the end. So for example, if you share a client result, let's say a reel around a client transformation or a case study around a client transformation, a simple call to action you could use. If you want to achieve results like my client X did, like my client John did, for example, and lose the dad bod forever, DM the word lean to get started. Okay. Because again, yes, post content, yes, post consistently, but make sure it's targeted at one specific person. As I said, at the end of this call, I am offering people a free content strategy based on their ideal customer, so make sure to stick around for that. But again, make sure when you are posting these educational reels, you're calling out your ideal customer in the first few seconds to grab their attention. Now, I know a big word for people is, oh, if I target one specific person, I'm going to alienate the rest of my audience. That's not the case. Okay, you'll become the go-to person for solving that problem. And you don't need to niche it down to the point where it's only busy moms age 35 plus who struggle with their nutrition. It could just be busy individuals in general who want to shred body fat, want to gain their confidence back, so on and so forth. Okay, so again, that is extremely important. Organic content, optimize your profile. Then we nail organic content, 5 educational reels per week. Okay, one day solely focus on client results, and then one day more personal. Okay. 2 seconds. There's a quick question coming in. Is there an alternative for an educational reel? Not big on talking to the camera. No, again, I completely relate to that. And it's something all my clients struggle with as well, Danielle, at the start now. What I would say, if you are very, very keen to grow an online business, speaking to the camera is very, very important. Okay. Because again, there is so many coaches these days. And if you don't speak to the camera, okay, they're not going to resonate with you. They're not going to build up trust with you. Okay. So yes, speaking to the camera is essential. And what I would say is, if you do have a fear of it, we all have that fear at the start. I used to dread speaking to the camera every single week. Okay. But again, you'll get over that fear once you start doing it. And once you start seeing the results that come from it, that fear will go away. But even a good tip for you, Daniela, is just go in prepared. Have your scripts ready. Have your headlines ready. Okay. Even if you're recording the gym, go to the gym at a quiet time. Trust me as well, though, there's no one judging you because, again, every single coach is doing it these days. So don't worry about it. Okay. And once you do start doing it, I can guarantee you won't have that fear anymore. Are these posts on the page or mixed in with stories? So again, they're both very, very important. Okay. You need to do both. So again, obviously educational reels, the social proof, so on and so forth, they'll all go on your main feed. Okay. But also I'll be posting them on stories, especially social proof. And again, I'm going to run through a strategy to use which social proof on your stories in a few seconds. I'm going through the call to action strategy. But to answer your question, Eamon, they will both go on your feed and on your stories. Okay. With your feed, that's going to be the main bulk of your educational content and social proof. Then in your stories, I just genuinely recommend sharing your day-to-day life, okay, to allow people to get to know you, what you train, what you eat, showcase social proof on your stories, do polls that are very easy to answer to create conversations, which we're going to go through more in a second. But to answer your question, Eamon, they'll go both on feed and stories. So for example, if you create a reel, okay, you'd reshare that reel onto your story. So everyone who views your story sees it. And also everybody who's following you will see it as well. The more eyeballs we can get, the better. Okay. But yeah, that's next with content. Okay. And again, I will design people content strategy at the end of this call. Well, in the next few days, once you book in for calls, so on and so forth. So we can go through that then. But for ye, action steps from this so far: optimize your Instagram profile to appeal to your target audience. Okay. Who you help, what you help them do, in what time frame, a keyword for them to DM you to inquire, and then start posting educational content. Okay. 5 educational reels per week, one day focus on results, and then one day more personal. Okay. And again, when you are creating content, make sure you're calling out your ideal customer at the start of the reel to grab their attention. Okay. Now, again, Amy, this will help you as well. So, especially on your stories, I recommend doing call to actions. Okay. Because CTAs are one of the easiest ways to get new clients into your business every single week. You'll notice I do them a lot. All my clients do them, and they're extremely important. And in terms of call to actions, we have 2 forms of call to actions. We have a direct call to action and an indirect call to action. Okay. I recommend doing a direct call to action on your stories every single Monday. Okay. And this is something you can literally do tomorrow to hopefully get some queries into your business. Okay. So for example, a direct call to action. Okay, what you're going to do, you're going to share a client transformation, or if you have no transformations right now and you're just getting started, I've done this a lot as well. Share your own journey with a very clear call to action. For example, you could share a client transformation or again, your own transformation. Okay, I'm looking for three busy men who want to drop body fat, build lean muscle, and never go back to old ways in the next 90 days. DM me the word ready to find out more. Okay, you need to put your offer out there at least once per week. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to do that every single week. Trust me, it works. Okay. Trust me, it works. So every single Monday, do a direct call to action. Share a client transformation or your own journey, saying you're looking for three people to achieve X, Y, and Z in the next 90 days, 60 days, 12 weeks, whatever you want to say, and then have a key word for them to DM you to inquire. Okay. So that's a great way to get direct inquiries into your business. Then on Thursdays, because I like to break up my call to action, I do Mondays and Thursdays personally. Then on Thursdays, share polls in your story, which are very easy to answer to help create conversations. So, for example, ones that work really well that you can literally implement from this week as well and start getting conversations started within your business is, would you rather be A, lean athletic, B, big and strong? Anybody who votes in those polls will start a conversation with. So, for example, hey, Eamon, seen you voted my poll, you're looking to get lean athletic. How's it going for you at the minute, my man? Okay. Very easy to start a conversation. We can find out their goal, we find out their struggle, or we get them on a call to find a solution to that struggle and turn that conversation into a client. Okay. Do you want my free fat burning guide? A, yes, B, no. Anybody who's in my mentorship or has followed me for a while knows I'm a massive fan of free resources. Okay. Because again, the best way to build up trust with people is through giving them really, really good free value that they can literally take away and get results for free if they wanted to. But the thing is, most people struggle with is the accountability and support. You can give them all the free value, but they'll still struggle with the implementation of it. Okay. So, for example, I would recommend you start creating fat loss guides, muscle building guides, whatever guides are related to your ideal customer that's going to provide them value is a great thing to do. Okay. And then when someone votes on this, for example, yes, we'll send them a free guide, create a conversation, find out their goals, their struggles, and again, get them onto calls. And there's plenty more here that you can literally implement from this week to start getting conversations and start getting calls booked into your calendar. But to summarize, you need to do call to actions every single week. Mondays, a direct call to action. Okay, share client transformation or your own journey, saying you look for three people to achieve X, Y, and Z next 90 days, the number X to apply. Then on Thursdays, sharing polls which are easy to answer to help create conversations. Okay, and again, that's going to lead to direct queries coming to your business, but also as well, giving you the ability to start conversations very easily and get calls booked in. And again, having conversations, especially when you're at the start of your coaching journey, is so, so important. And there's so many coaches, such a bad relationship with it. I'm going to run through now in a second how to do it. Okay. But again, the more conversations you start, okay, the better it is and the more clients you will sign up. Okay. And again, through sharing these polls, it makes it much easier to actually start conversations with these people. Because again, there's nothing worse than reaching out to people who have no interest at all. But if people are engaging with these polls, they have a genuine interest. Even this right now, what I'm doing is a free resource. Okay, I have people on a call, I'm giving a value, so on and so forth. So you're building up trust in me naturally from that. Okay, so that's the call to action strategy. So again, action step 3 from this week. Do your direct call to action tomorrow. Do your indirect call to action on Thursday. You'll start getting some inquiries in, and you'll also start being able to create conversations in a very easy way and turn them into book calls and turn those book calls then into paying clients. Okay, so that's the CTA blueprint. From there, then, what we're going to focus on next is outbound. And again, a lot of coaches have such a bad relationship with this. And again, I did too. Okay, because again, I thought it was salesy. I thought I was desperate. What I will say, it's absolutely not. Okay, if you have a great service, you're helping people change their lives, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you reaching out to people who may have the potential to buy your service. Because again, if you're offering fitness coaching, or let's say like me, offering business mentorship, I'm offering a service that's going to change people's life. Okay. Even when someone says to me they're struggling with doing outbound messaging, what I always say to them is, if you woke up tomorrow out of shape, low in confidence in yourself, and someone reached out to you and they had the solution to their problem, and you signed up to their coaching and they helped you lose all the weight, regain your confidence, okay, improve your health, would you be happy that person reached out to you? Absolutely, you would. It's not like you're selling scams, okay? You're selling a great service which can change people's lives. So what I want people to do now, as well, so we can get a perspective on how many people are doing it, how many people are consistently sending outbound messages a day at the minute. If you are, type 1 into the chat just to have perspective on that. Because again, if you are a coach who wants to get to 5K per month, it's an essential piece of the puzzle, I promise you. Okay, so if you are doing outbound messaging right now, type in 1. If you're not, type in 2. Okay, because again, if you're not, I'm not going to call you out right now, but if you did type in no or you don't do them, start doing them, please. And I'm going to run through now how you should do it. Okay, but I'm also going to offer as well free DM scripts for you to implement to get calls put to your calendar. Because again, a lot of people do DM outreach the wrong way. Okay, and again, when you are doing outbound, you want to focus on people who are engaging with your content. Okay, because again, I'll never tell someone that works with me to do cold outbound messaging. It doesn't work. Okay, if they're not following you, if they're not engaging with your content, why would you reach out to them? It's like a stranger walking past in the street and asking you, "Oh, do you want to lose body fat?" No, I don't. I don't even know you. Do you get me? So we'll focus on people who are actually engaging with our content. So your post likers, new followers that are coming to the page, story engagers from our polls, story viewers, current followers, so on and so forth. Because again, they're currently in your audience, so they're warm leads. Okay, so we can start conversations with these people. Now, what I would say, do not make the mistake most coaches do and try to sell your coaching instantly. Okay, because again, that builds up a ton of sales resistance. I'm sure even ye can relate to this. You probably get messages constantly from fitness coaches, from marketers, whatever it may be, and you're sick of them. It's because you don't even know them. You've no trust built up with these people, okay? And they're reaching out to you, offering a service, you don't even know the person. So when you're doing outbound messaging, focus on post likers, new followers, story engagement from your polls, story viewers, and current followers, okay? And again, that kind of is the order of preference I'd go with. Post likers is always number 1, new followers number 2, because if you're a fitness coach and you're posting fitness content and they're following you through that fitness content, they have a direct interest in fitness and they probably want to lose some weight or build some muscle, depending on what reel they followed you from. Okay. And then, as I said as well, with your indirect call to actions, people are voting your polls, they're taking action, they're voting on the polls. There's nothing wrong with starting conversation with these people, also your story viewers and current followers. But that's kind of the order preference I'd go with. So I'd focus on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, again, what I would say, don't make the mistake most coaches make and sell the coaching instantly. It builds up a lot of sales resistance, and don't be surprised when you get absolutely zero replies. Okay. Focus on being as genuine as possible and building a relationship with the person, because people buy from people that they like, people buy from people that they trust, and people buy from the people that give them the most value. Okay. Find out where they're from, what they do for work. Then you can transition into a call, into a conversation or in speaking about fitness. Okay. So find out their goal, their struggle, what they've tried before. Have they worked with a coach before? Send them a free resource related to their struggle. So, for example, if you're having a conversation with a girl and she's trying to lose body fat, make sure you have a free resource created on how to lose body fat. And you could just send that to her, because that makes you much different to the rest of them. Because most of them aren't sending free resources. All they care about is getting the money. Whereas I go with the mindset to provide as much value as I can to that person. And I know eventually they'll come back to me. Even if they don't sign up to me, they'll take value to help them grow their business, whatever it may be. And that's a win in my book. Okay. So find out their goal, their struggle, what they've tried before, have they worked with a coach before, send them a free resource related to the struggle. Then you can offer a call to chat through that free guide and cover any questions that they may have. Okay. And again, that can then turn to a sales call. Never focus on selling your coaching through DMs. Focus on selling a solution to their problem through DMs. And then on the call, you can focus on selling your coaching, and we'll go through how to sell to people in a short few minutes. Okay. But that's the right way to do outbound messaging. Okay. And again, as I said, I'm going to give people a free resource. If you want an example of a DM script, type script into the chat box now. I'll look back on the recording afterwards, and everybody typed in that. I will send you over the DM scripts I'm using with my clients right now to get a lot of calls booked in to their calendar. Because again, I can't stress this enough. I know it's a pain. I know no one likes it. I know it feels awful doing it at the start. But again, it's a game changer for growing your business. I can promise you that. Okay, so I'll send over the DM script to anybody who types in script to the chat box. But again, what I will say, focus on selling the call and a solution to their problem rather than your coaching through the DMs. Be genuine, build a relationship, give them free value, then offer a call to provide a solution to their problem, and then focus on selling over the consultation call, not through DMs. Because if you're trying to sell coach to your DMs, also it's my coaching, what's your goal, what's your struggle, like straight off the bat, they're going to leave you on red. I can promise you that. Okay. If you've never done outbound messaging before, aim to start at least 20 new conversations per day. Okay, anybody vote in this poll, I'll send you the scripts afterwards, and you'll see they work. Okay, and then slowly scale up as you get more comfortable and you see more leads on your page. But I guarantee you, if you do this for a few weeks consistently, you'll be amazed the amount of low-hanging fruit you have in your audience and the people who are actually interested in your coaching when you make the first move. Because often people are actually crying out for help, but they're actually afraid to make that first move. So as coaches these days, we need to make the first move, because again, I always say this, before a few years ago, even when I first started coaching, maybe like 8-9 years ago, you could literally post a picture of you in good shape and you'll get a ton of inquiries, where it's not like that anymore. It's much more reliant on the coach making the first move. Okay, so action step for you all today, from tomorrow, have at least 20 conversations per day. And I guarantee you, when you focus on the approach that I have, you will get a lot of calls booked in to your calendar. Okay. Now, with the things I mentioned there, optimize your Instagram profile, creating content that converts, being consistent with your content, so on and so forth. The next step then from sales is make sure I have no questions. Quick one, Dara, off topic, but what KPI should we be tracking of across the board within the business? So very, very good question, Jordan. So in terms of KPIs, so I'm a massive fan of tracking data, and it gets much more important as you start to scale and scale further. So for example, I'll track every DM that's sent from my business. What was the scene rate? What was the reply rate? How many calls did we get booked? What script was used? I track every single sales call I have. Did they show up to the call? Did they sign up? So I know my close rate. Okay. Then I also ensure I track every single lead that comes into my business, whether they inquire through DM or they booked in through a call through IDM them, or they attended this free resource, or even if they were, let's say, inquired through a form, whatever it is, every single lead that comes to my business as well gets tracked. And that way, then I can constantly look over my business. Okay, the DM strategy I'm doing right now isn't working. Okay, I need to change this up. Or my sales calls aren't performing as well as they should. I'm not closing as much people as I should. Okay, let's touch up sales. Okay, I have 1,000 leads here on Google Doc. Okay, I need to reach out to all these people and have regular follow-ups with these people to turn those leads into book calls into my calendar. So to answer your question, Jordan, all your DMs should be tracked. What was the scene rate? What was the reply rate? How many calls got booked in? What script was used? Okay. Sales calls, the show up rate, the close rate needs to be tracked. And then every single lead that comes into your business as well needs to be tracked, so you let no lead slip through the cracks. Because again, as I always say as well, you'll notice this when you start doing DM outbound messaging, the fortune is in the follow-up. Okay, you need to have regular follow-ups with people. This is no word of a lie. Some of my clients, now I always use Dylan as an example. Dylan was turning me down for 2 or 3 months. He was turning me down for 2 or 3 months. I was like, yeah, it's not the right time. It's not the right time, so on and so forth. Kept following up with him because I knew I'd get him a result. Then he signed up, and within 4 months, Dylan's got from zero to £7,000 per month. He's based in the UK. And again, if I didn't keep following up with him, I wouldn't sign him up as a client. And also as well, Dylan would have changed his life, got off the gym floor, and have a very good online business now. So also as well, to go beyond that, I'd also track your content. So, okay, what style of content am I doing that's performing best? Okay, is it edited? Is it not edited? The hooks I'm using, so on and so forth. So everything needs to be tracked really, but your DMs do, the scene rate, the reply rate, call bookings, sales, show up rate, close rate, all your leads, and then also as well, your content, what's performing best. Obviously as well, then we have like our ads, tracking our ads, so on and so forth. But again, if you're, let's say, between 0 to 3K per month, you do not need to be focusing on ads. Any mentor tells you to focus on ads that early, you may as well catch money and throw it in the bin. Because again, you need to get proof of concept that you're organic before you start running ads, because you will waste a lot of money otherwise. And again, when you're at the start of your coaching business, one of the biggest benefits of it, it's a very profitable business. But again, if you're throwing money at ads and seeing no success with it, because again, you don't have proof of concept organic, you're wasting money. Okay. So that's to answer your question, Jordan. So again, hopefully that makes sense, my man. But again, feel free to ask me any more questions even after the call if you want. Okay. Okay. So as I mentioned, once you have your profile optimized, you're posting content consistently, which is both educational, transformative. Okay. You're starting your conversations. Okay. You're hitting your targets. You will have a lot of calls being booked into your calendar. Okay. And again, what I always say to people on my clients, so on and so forth, first of all my clients, I make them record all the sales calls so I can review them to make sure they're very skilled at sales and very competent at sales. But I always say there's no point me teaching you how to get 10 calls booked into your calendar per week if you can't close these people. Okay, because sales is very, very important. Now, marketing is more important than sales because, again, if you don't have to market yourself, you don't have to get people interested in your coaching because we know I'm booking for sales calls anyway. So once we nail the marketing, we then need to focus on nailing your sales process. Okay, so once calls are consistently booked with your calendar from our content and messaging, we need to ensure we know how to sell to these people. Okay, I'm going to run through an exact framework you need to use with sales calls. Okay, now there's a few other things which I mentioned as well, but when you're doing sales calls, this is the framework I'd go with. So what we need to do at the start of a sales call is gain authority. Okay, we need to take control of the conversation. So for example, what I'd say if I was a fitness coach right now, or even with my mentorship, what I'd say is, hey X, so let's say for example, hey Jordan, so I've managed to get on with you. I don't know if it's because we're getting closer to summer, but I've been back to back with calls all day. I think I'm down to a couple of slots for this week and next week. So we're going to jump straight in if you don't mind. Straight away, that gives you a ton of authority at the start of the call. They recognize that you're busy, that your time's valuable, and whoever's time is more valuable on the call, okay, is the person who has the most authority. So we need to get authority at the start of the call, okay? Then we're going to say to them, on this call, we're going to go over things like your goals, your current situation, your roadblocks. Then we're going to make a game plan to get you started today if all is a good fit. Okay, so we're saying to them, if they're a good fit for us and we're a good fit for them, we can make a game plan to get started today. You can see we have control of the conversation, we're running it. Okay, then we're going to ask them questions like, what's the main goal? Why is that goal important to you? That's the most important question to ask. Because again, how we sell through results and emotion. If you can get someone to open up why they want to get in shape, you have them. Okay. Because again, it's not just simple as I want to lose weight. Why do you want to lose weight? Are you a busy father? Do you want to set a good example for your kids? Do you want to see your grandkids grow up, whatever it may be? You need to dig deep on why they want to get in shape. Okay. And get them to open up to you. Okay. Then we're going to ask them, what challenges in life do you have that are stopping you from getting to where you want to be? So now they're going to open up about the struggles they're having, why they can't get in shape, why they feel they can't get in shape anyway. And then, for example, how has not looking or feeling the way you want held you back in life, your relationships, your work life, your family life? And again, what we're doing here, we're basically getting them to sell themselves into our program. They're really opening up about how bad life has been not being in shape. Okay. Ask them why is that a challenge? And again, to create some urgency in the prospect's mind, what we're going to say to them, if we were to speak again 6 months from now, what kind of results would you want to see for yourself and how would you want to feel? Okay. So many coaches make the mistake of selling the features of the program, talking about the apps they use, the softwares they use. No one cares. Okay. Every single coach is using the same coaching apps. They all do training plans, they all do nutrition plans, they all do weekly check-ins. Okay. But what we want to sell is the feeling the person behind the screen we're speaking to is going to have after they finish our program. The feeling of confidence, okay? The feeling of health, the feeling of them being on top of the routine, so on and so forth. The feeling of them setting a good example for their kids. That's what we're trying to sell, okay? Then we're going to ask them, if you didn't do this change in me in 6 months, how would you feel? So we're getting to open up on how bad it would be if they didn't take action. So you'll see here what I'm doing. I'm gaining authority. I'm finding out their goals, their struggles, their roadblocks, saying that if we do get started, if we are a good fit for each other, okay, we can get started today if all is a good fit. Then we're really getting to sell the coaching to us. What's their goal? Why is it important? What challenge are they facing when trying to get in shape? How is not looking or feeling the way they want to affected their life and held them back in life? Why is that a challenge? And then create an urgency in their mind, okay, that if we were to speak 6 months from now, what kind of results would they want and how would they feel if they didn't take action? So they're really selling the program to us here, okay? They're doing the selling for us rather than us selling to them, okay? Then you simply go into the program details and keep that very, very short, okay? So tailored nutrition, tailored training, weekly check-ins, 24/7 support, guaranteed results once you're willing to follow the plan, okay? Then simply ask them, is this something they need to get to their goal? Once they tell us yes, then we'll go into the pricing. Okay. When pitching your price, always pitch the upfront payment first. Okay. So for example, you'd say 6 months to work with me is €1,500. However, if you sign up today, you get it for €1,200. And again, this is creating urgency in the prospect's mind to take action right now by giving them an offer to sign up there and then. Okay. And again, when you're on sales calls, we're going to get objections. Okay. Everyone gets objections and you need to learn how to manage them. So just manage them as they come. If they can't afford the upfront option and they genuinely can't afford it, next offer you'll give is a split payment. So you'll say to them, you can pay 600 month one, 600 month two. How does that sound to you? And if they genuinely still can't afford that, you go down to a monthly rolling option. Because again, what I'm a big fan of is pitching the upfront, and then if you need to, downselling, because that way you'll have great cash flow coming to the business from your upfront payments, but then you'll also have a lot of monthly recurrings coming in. So you have good recurring revenue, good sales coming in, and that's a great business. Okay. So that's in brief how to run a sales call. And again, if anybody wants a sales call framework after the call, wants a copy of this, send me the word sales and I'll send it over to you, or comment the word sales on this webinar and I'll send it over to you. Because again, there's no point in me teaching you how to get tons of calls booked in, and then you get on those calls, you're nervous on the sales call, you don't know what to say, and again, you're wasting leads. Okay. Marketing comes first, then we master sales. Okay. But both are extremely, extremely important. Okay. Okay. So next up. Okay. So again, so far, optimizing your profile, nailing your organic content, doing your outbound messaging, doing your call to actions. Okay. Getting on sales calls. We now have a ton of clients coming into the business. Okay. We've a lot of clients coming in. So what's the next step? Keeping those clients long term, ensuring we get them results, ensure we get referrals from those clients. Okay. So as I said here, this is delegate, dialing in retention. Because again, what I'd call is like a leaky bucket. For example, if you have 10 clients coming in every month, but you have 10 clients leaving, you're always going to stay in relatively the same position. A great business is a business that has long-term clients that are retaining and paying them every single month. And then also new sales coming in. You need both. Okay. So the key is getting them results and keep them long term. Okay. In terms of that, ensure you onboard them very, very quickly. Okay. I'll never forget the time I hired a coach myself, and the onboarding process, I didn't get my plans over for a week. And I was like, okay, I'm not staying with this guy long term. And again, of course, it takes time to create a training plan. Of course, it takes time to create a nutrition plan. And again, it's not something we're just going to copy and paste. But in my opinion, 24 to 48 hours, that client needs to have their plans. Okay. Because again, a quick onboarding process keeps them excited, keeps them motivated. So make sure you onboard them as quickly as you can. And then I'm a big fan of ensuring the client sees some sort of result within the first 2 weeks to keep them motivated. Okay. Of course, we know we can't throw them into a huge aggressive calorie deficit straight away, but make sure to see some sort of win and you're congratulating them on those wins at the start. That could even be improving their digestion. It could be improving their sleep. It could be dropping a few kilos from water weight, whatever it may be. Make sure to see some level of result within the first 2 weeks to keep them motivated. Even when a client signs with me with the mentorship, my main goal at the start is like, I want to make their investment back as quickly as they possibly can. Okay. Because then they're going to have more trust in me. They're going to have more belief in me. And also, as well, it's take a lot of pressure off them and they know they chose the right person. Okay. So again, make sure your client sees some sort of result within the first 2 weeks to keep them motivated, because a motivated client is a client who stays. Okay. Then ensure, I hope I don't have to say this to you, but I'm going to say it anyway, have touch points throughout the week. Coaching is much more than just one weekly check-in, a 2-minute Loom video. Make sure you're touching base with them throughout the week. Okay. So for example, with my coaching business, when I was really pushing my fitness business, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'd touch base with my clients. Hey, how's everything going? If you need my help with anything, just let me know. They feel like that I'm in their corner because I was, and they really appreciate those touch points. And again, you can resolve any issues they're having then throughout the week rather than wait until they're checking. Then, once you're giving them amazing service, they're seeing results early on. What we're going to do on week 3 is send them a referral scheme message. Again, free resource for you. If you type referral into the group or into this chat, I should say, I will send you the referral scheme message after this call. Okay, or by the morning at the latest. Okay, it's 10 p.m. my time. Let's go to bed after this. But type referral into the group, into the chat, and I'll send you access after this. And again, a huge, huge thing for retention, okay, and selling clients to the new packages is when they get roughly halfway through their package. And again, this was one of the biggest needle movers in my business because I was giving people such a good service. Is when they get halfway through their package, you're going to get them on a milestone call, I like to call it. And what you're going to do in a milestone call is chat through how well they're doing, get them excited for future goals, and give them an irresistible offer there and then to resign. So for example, let's say you have a client in a 12-week program. Once you get to week 8, they're seeing really good results, they're dropping body fat, you'll get them on a call, congratulate them on how well they're doing, okay? Then have a roadmap in place for the next 12 weeks, okay? So We're going to do 4 more weeks of dieting. Then we're going to transition to your reverse diet. Then we're going to focus on building muscles to get them very excited for what's to come. Then you give them an irresistible offer there and then to resign. So, for example, if you charge, let's say, €750 for a 12-week program, usually, if they're already in a 12-week program, you get them on a call in week 8, chat through how well they're doing, get them excited for future goals, and give them an irresistible offer there and then to resign. And for example, that could be if you resign for another 12-week program now, you'll get it for €600 rather than 750, or I'll add in an extra month to your coaching. And again, when they're seeing good results, when they have a lot of trust in you, they will bite your hand off for it. And I could say that from experience, okay? Because I was giving people a really good service. They loved working with me. So when I give them an irresistible offer there and then to resign, most 9 times out of 10, they signed up. But again, I know you're taking the initial hit of maybe giving a slightly cheaper price for them. But again, I'd rather them re-sign now when they're still motivated rather than risk losing them on week 12 when the package is about to end. So dieting and retention, okay? Make sure the onboarding process is quick. You get them some sort of result within the first 2 weeks, keep them motivated, have touch points throughout the week to make sure you're supporting as much as you can. Then once you get to week 3, send them a referral scheme message, okay? Then if they are in packages, get them a call roughly halfway through, chat through how well they're doing, get them excited for future goals, and give them an irresistible offer there and then to resign. And again, what I will say, those 4 steps in terms of getting to 5 to 10K per month is what you need to focus on. You need to focus on optimizing your profile, nailing your organic content, doing your call to actions, doing your outbound messaging, mastering your sales, mastering your service to keep clients long term. And if you do that and you rinse and repeat it even for a couple of months, you'll be a coach with a 5 to 10K per month business. Okay. And people be wondering how you've done it. It sounds super simple because it is. And trust me, I know it feels hard to start. Okay. But again, I was in the exact same position as you, and it wasn't until I started learning these things that I now had the skills to do it myself many, many years ago and help many, many coaches do it. This system works. It requires consistency of doing these actions every single day. Okay. As I said, these 4 pillars will be the ones to get you to 5 to 10K per month as an online coach. Sounds super easy because it is. Okay. It's not that hard. Okay. The only difference between you and let's say some of my clients who are achieving it is they took action, they got the strategy, they had the accountability and support needed, and now they have very, very successful online businesses, and you'll be the exact same too. I've no doubt about it. Even you taking action on a Sunday evening to get in this call shows that you're in the right mindset. But again, don't just sit in this call and be like, yeah, that wasn't real. I need to get all that in place. Actually do it. Please just do it. Because again, I don't want people to keep showing up to these calls and not getting results, because you should be getting results. You all deserve to be where my clients are, where I was, so on and so forth. Okay. Okay. So there's a few options from here. Okay. You can do nothing and continue to do the same thing and basically got you where you are right now. Or option 2, implement everything I shared today on your own, obviously without my custom implementation. Okay. There's 2 options, but again, there's also a third option who want to guarantee their success this summer. Okay. Who are action takers, who want to shortcut and guarantee their success and learn from all of my mistakes. And again, if you were to work with me, here's what you'll get access to for the first 8 weeks, for the next 8 weeks, I should say, to make sure you do add 5K per month to your income, like my clients Jamie did, Anthony did, Olivia did after the last live webinar. Okay. What you get is one-to-one calls with me, private one-to-one chats, so ongoing support. There's 2 weekly group calls, and there's also in-person events. Obviously, the main thing is those one-to-one calls. That's where I design your strategy, build out your content strategy, your DM scripts, your story strategy, your sales playbook, everything. Everything is done for you within my mentorship, which is why we're seeing such good results. It's not like most mentorships where you're thrown into a group and left with no support. It's with me. I do it with you. I mean, I've been where you are. Okay. And again, this is what we kind of focus on in the first 8 weeks, because what we noticed, myself and my team, is within the first 8 weeks, nearly every single client that comes to us does get to the 5K per month, or at a minimum of 5K per month to their income. Okay. And these are the steps we focus on. Again, very similar to what I went through with you there. Instagram offer and alignment, getting very clear on your ideal customer, optimizing your socials to appeal to your ideal customer, creating your content strategy, nailing your offer. So that's the first things we'll focus on when a client comes into us. Then the outbound, crafting the perfect DM scriptable calls, your call to action strategy is unique to you, and then getting very religious about tracking your data. We do all that for our clients. Sales mastery, implement proven strategies to nurture leads, mastering sales calls, mastering objections, And then we focus on our retention playbook. Okay, ensure your service is 5 stars. One thing I always do with every client that comes to me, I'll look through your service and make sure it is set up to keep clients long term and get results. Install proper retention strategy to keep clients long term, and then master selling clients into new packages. Okay, so that's the Excel 8-week blueprint to escape the gym floor in 2025, or escape the job you're in, or even just make your first 5K a month as an online coach. Okay. Our promise then as well, if you do follow the system, implement the steps, and if you don't add at least 5K per month to your income, like the rest of my clients have, after the 8 weeks, we'll refund you every single penny. That's how confident I am in the service. I've never had someone actually take me up on that offer, because again, we always do get the personal results once they're willing to implement, of course. Okay. And again, the investment option is 48 weeks. It's usually €3,000 for 8 weeks for that accelerator program. But for 5 people who take action within 24 hours, it will just be €2,000 for the 8 weeks. And again, I think one of my teams is going to pop in a Calendly link to book a call. Okay, so you can book in a call via that, and we can have a chat and go from there. And again, my calls are not sales calls. There's many people in this webinar who probably been on sales calls with me, and I don't focus on selling hard. If you want to work with me, fantastic. If you don't, I'll make sure you leave a value anyway, because I do want to see you all succeed, especially the ones that are supporting my content, so on and so forth. Okay. So again, first call, enroll now. I just want to see if, yeah, so Ted from my team just popped in a Calendly link there. Okay, so you can book in via that if you are interested. Again, it's only 5 slots open for the first 5 people. In the next 24 hours who do sign up, you get a €1,000 one-time discount. And from there then, once you book in for a call, we'll have a chat. We'll see where you're at. I'll explain a strategy for you. And again, there's no pressure with my calls. You'd leave a lot of value regardless. But what I would say, especially for people who were on my last webinar, don't let another 6 months go by without taking action. You've seen today, it's possible with time. Okay. I've done it. My client's done it. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't do it. It is extremely easy. The only thing you're lacking right now is the skills and the accountability necessary to help you get there. So click the link and secure a spot before others, before we close enrollments. And I can just see now on my phone. Okay, so Jack, I seen you booked the call already. That's one action taker, fair play. So someone already took action already, which is great to see. And again, it's always the action takers who will come out on top. Okay, so again, if you are interested, you can book a call. The link is in the chat box. Okay, but again, what I want to do right now is to make sure everybody does leave as much value as you can. So feel free to ask any questions that you do have, and I will answer them then to the best of my ability. Okay, so feel free to ask any questions, guys, about anything we went through there. And don't be shy. Feel free to ask away. And again, make sure you do leave with some value today. Okay, obviously, we went through everything. And again, if you do take action on these steps, you will be the ones on these results page in the future, hopefully. Okay. So any questions to answer, just feel free to fire them in. Okay. Just let me know. Okay. If no one has any questions, absolutely no panic at all. I can go to bed. Can you explain how to write a script for Reels, please? So in terms of writing a script for Reels, okay, I'm presuming you mean the actual speaking of it, Danielle. So again, the most important part, and where you spend the most time on your Reels, is literally the hook. Because again, if we can't hook people in and get their attention, they're not going to consume the value in the first place. So what you need to focus on is first is the hook. So again, as I said, Danielle, calling out your ideal customer within the first few seconds to grab their attention. So are you a busy mom who's struggling to lose weight and you've tried everything? Listen up. So that's grabbing their attention straight away. You can also use things like negative hooks. So stop doing this if you're a busy mom who's trying to lose weight. Okay. Again, people are much more risk adverse. They don't like doing things wrong. So if we can give a negative hook, it's going to grab their attention as well. Okay. So calling out your ideal customer using negative hooks, polarizing hooks, visual hooks, so on and so forth. But when creating Reels, the most important part is the hook. So call out your ideal customer in the first few seconds to grab their attention. Then you have your body of your reel. Okay, so what you want to say, the value you want to give, and then a clear call to action at the end, whether that's direct or indirect. So a direct call to action could be, if you're a busy mom who's looking to lose weight, DM me the word fat loss and I'll be in touch. Or it could simply be, follow me for more value. Okay, so again, when you're creating Reels, the most important part is spending enough time on the hook to grab their attention, have the body ready, so what you're going to say for the value piece, and then have a clear call to action at the end, whether that's for coaching, whether that's for a free guide, or even for literally just to follow you to gain new followers on your page. Okay. Okay, so there's some more questions coming in here. So, true thoughts on having a WhatsApp group with all clients where they can send in wins and also I can provide free value. 100%, Brendan. So, that's huge. Something I focus on with all my clients because, again, an example I always like to use, right, is there's a reason why, let's say, High Rocks classes are so popular, fitness classes in general, right? It's because there's a community aspect to it and people feel part of something. So you want to make people feel part of something within your coaching as well. Okay. So for example, a WhatsApp group is a great place to start. And what I make sure I do, I post daily value in there, motivational pieces, I post my client results in there. I'd encourage people to engage in there. And then I'd also look at having weekly calls where you give them even more value. Because again, when someone feels part of something, they're a lot less likely to leave. And it's a huge part of retention. So to answer your question, Brendan, WhatsApp group with all clients where they can send their wins and also provide value, 100% should be done. Okay, so definitely, my man, definitely. And what to do when a lot don't reply due to, say, poor DM script? Are these people ignoring me because they don't want my service? And when I message again, or is the lead gone? So again, Sean, with this one, it completely depends on a few things. So, for example, where are you reaching out to them from? Are they engaging in your content? Are they viewing your stories? Are they engaging in your polls? Are they just current followers? So, for example, if it's a cold DM, I'm not surprised people aren't engaging. And if I was you, I wouldn't focus on cold DM outreach. I'd focus people who are actually in your warm audience. And again, as I said, when doing outbound messaging, the key to be is to be as genuine as possible. If you're going straight in, trying to sell instantly, sales just is really high and they won't reply. Okay. But again, as I always say, the fortune is in the follow up. So, for example, let's say you had a conversation with someone and you managed to get to their goal. You found out their goal is to lose weight. And then the conversation died down. I'd send them a message within a few days, even a day later. Hey, X, just had a spare few minutes. So I said, I'd see if you're still working towards your weight loss goals, if you're still interested in losing weight. And again, that'll spark up the conversation. But again, if it's your opening message they haven't replied to or they ignored, what I like to do is I'd like their message or I'd like my message so it gets bumped up to the top of their inbox. Okay. Then I'd also do things like replying to their stories, liking their stories. Okay, is a great one to do as well. You can send them a funny GIF to get the conversation going again as well. No doubt people in this group chat have been hit with my follow-up sequences. But again, if they're not replying to your open message, look at improving your opening message, be more genuine. If the conversation died down or you tried to pitch a call and didn't take action and go for the call, you may have pitched a call too early. But I need to see a bit more before I give you a proper answer to that one, my man. But again, with your DMs, make sure you're focusing your warm audience, post likers, new followers, story engagers, story viewers, current followers in general. Be very genuine in your approach. Okay. Don't talk about fitness at the start. Okay. Find out what they're from, where they're from, what their goals are, what their struggles are, so on and so forth. Then you'd pitch a call. So again, I just need a bit more perspective on that one before I give you a guaranteed answer. Okay. Have a client also wants to sign up for 8 weeks, but I'm going on holidays for 10 days in a few days. Would you try to close him now and try keep him committed while on holidays instead of losing the warm lead? He's very keen. Ask could he get going after the holiday, or would you try to take him in and hold his slot? So he wants to sign up for 8 weeks, but he's going on holidays for 10 days in a few days. So what I would do in this scenario, because again, it can be hard to sell someone into a program when they're going on holidays. Okay, that's just the reality of it. And again, they're probably thinking, why would I sign up now when I'm going to be drinking, I'm going to be eating, whatever it may be. So, like what you could do, let's say if the holiday, so I'll give you two examples. So, let's say, for example, if the holiday was in like 4 weeks' time, I'd say, let's get started now. Let's build some habits. You'll go on holidays feeling and looking much better. We can pause the program for a few days. I'll give you strategies to help you keep you on track while you're on holidays. And then we can get back up and running once you're back. But if he's going on holidays in a few days, Brendan, what I would have done on the call, if you had a call with him already, is I would have secured a deposit, okay, and booked a follow-up call for the day he's back from holidays to get the rest of the payment over the line and get the onboarding process over to him. Okay, so in your scenario, Brendan, if the holiday's in a few days, I'd get a deposit off him to secure his commitment. Okay, and then I'd book a follow-up call for when he's back from holidays to get him fully set up then. Okay, so that's the way I go about that, my man. Okay, because again, it is hard to sell people if they're on holidays in a few days. Okay, it's just the reality of it. Okay, but again, deposit and follow-up call, no matter what situation it is always essential. If you say I want to start in a few weeks, if you want to say I want to start after holidays, whatever it may be, just to guarantee their commitment, secure a deposit. And if they're not willing to pay that deposit, Brendan, unfortunately, they're probably not that interested in the coaching, my man. Okay. Perfect. Sweet. So hopefully that all makes sense. You all took some value from those questions as well. I'll leave it for 3 seconds just in case anybody has any more questions. But again, I'll stay as long as I need to. Any more questions, feel free to ask. Okay. But yeah, there's some great questions to be fair. And again, note that people on the call as well took a lot of value from those questions, which is good. Okay. But again, guys, what I will say, don't let another few months go by not taking action. Go through this presentation, make sure you took your notes. Okay. And again, if you want it, you can have it. Okay. Because even some of these people communicate in the chat right now. I know you. Okay. I've had calls with you, some of you in the past, and you all have such good potential. You just need to take massive, massive action and be consistent. And again, I know for certain I can get you there if you're able to do it yourselves, are willing to do it yourselves, and happy days. Okay. But again, often you do need that accountability and support. And again, even from my own end, until I started investing myself, I never saw the progress that I wanted and deserved, being honest, because being a good coach is great. You need to be a great coach, but you also need the skills necessary to scale your business. Okay. But any more questions, feel free to fire them in and I'll get them answered. But if everybody's happy with that, we can leave it there and go from there. 2 seconds. Okay, so another call is booked in, which is good. So someone else took a call. It's another action taker, which is great. But again, lads, that link's there if you do want to book a call. And again, go through a strategy with me. And again, it's not a sales call. You'll take a lot of value from it anyway. And if you're interested in working with me, great. If you're not, no panic at all. You'll take some value anyway. Okay, but okay, if everybody's happy with that, guys, we'll leave it there. I'm going to pop the recording of the webinar into the group chat afterwards, so no one misses out on anything, and you can all read back on it. Okay, and anybody who did opt in for those free resources, I will send the free resources to all you privately after the call, so you get everything that's needed. But there's one more question. How do we enter the giveaway again? So just send me a DM, Daniela, with the word content, and you are getting the giveaway as well. Okay, so just send me a DM either on WhatsApp or Instagram with the word content, and you qualify for that. Okay. Sweet. Okay, so that's it, guys. If anybody knows has any questions, again, I'll send a recording in after the call, and feel free to fire any questions to that group chat afterwards. We can go from there. But again, thank you very much for taking time out on your Sunday to come to this. It does show that you're very, very serious. So again, I've known that you will get to your goals once you are willing to implement and do everything that was said in this. And again, if you do that extra level of support, feel free to reach out. The only 5 spots there, but again, whoever it does take action as quick as possible will be the ones who got those. Okay, but thank you very much for everyone to come to the call. Any more questions, feel free to pop into the chat. It was a pleasure seeing you on a Sunday, and I'll speak to you all soon.